All right, let's get right to it. The market is definitely telling you a story today, but I guarantee it's not the one you think. While the KOSP index flashed an all-time high, the real signal was buried deep in the supply chain. So let's dive into this intelligence briefing and decode the capital flows that are going to define the upcoming US session. On the surface, everything screamed risk on. But look, that headline number, it's a complete head fake. A move that feels like it was designed to mislead you. Because underneath that big green number, the market's entire internal engine was getting swapped out. And if you weren't tracking the right supply chain nodes, you just missed the whole event. And here it is, the core conflict, plain as day. On the left, you've got the public signal, the KSPI chart, breaking out, looking great. But the heat map on the right, that reveals the hidden reality. See that giant red block? That's Samsung, the index king, which was actually down. The index rallied while its biggest, most dominant player was bleeding. That, right there, is a critical anomaly. So, how in the world did this happen? Well, let's follow the money. We're going to investigate the capital flows bubbling right under the surface to see exactly where the smart money fled, and more importantly, where it got redeployed with serious conviction. You know, this heat map basically tells the entire story. This wasn't panic. This was a calculated, tactical reshuffling. You can literally see foreign capital rotating aggressively out of that popular semiconductor sector, that's all the red, and pouring directly into policy-driven industrial sectors like autos and defense, which are just lit up in green. These are the sectors getting a tailwind from new government initiatives, a really preemptive move ahead of tonight's key U.S. data. What's so interesting here is how this slide just boils the whole session down into one single clear movement, a baton pass. Capital was pulled from the old guard, the silicon sector, with its king, Samsung, taking a hit. It then surged directly into the new industrial core, triggering a massive signal activation in key supply chain nodes like Hyundai Mobis, which just exploded over 14%. Okay, so this broad rotation is one thing, but to really confirm our thesis, we need to isolate the true signal. When the main index is this misleading, we activate what I call the canary protocol. It's how we pinpoint the one data point that tells the real story. And this just brilliantly illustrates the strategic shift. On the left, you have the old king, Samsung, monolithic, a sleeping giant, totally static. But on the right, you see the coalition force, dynamic, mobilized assets that represent the new industrial base. While that giant was sleeping, these agile forces mobilized and literally drove the entire market forward, all on their own. This was the signal activation. This 14.47% move in Hyundai Mobis wasn't some minor tremor. It was an explosive breakout. This is what we call a pure alpha signal, a sign of outperformance that is completely independent of the overall market, and it confirms without a doubt where the new leadership is. So, why does any of this matter to you globally? Because this decoupling event proves a huge structural maturation in the market. The old logic, the old way of thinking is completely broken. And this has major implications for how traders have to analyze these markets from this point on. We have to put a name on this concept: index sovereignty. You know, for years, the KOSPI's fate was tied to a single tech company. But today, we witness the birth of a new market structure, one where a broad coalition has taken control. Understanding this shift is absolutely the key to understanding why the old playbook is now totally obsolete. The crucial point here is the evolution. The market has literally transformed from a monarchy where one company had total veto power into a republic. A coalition force of autos, defense, and materials can now successfully defend and advance the index even when the king is falling. This gives the market a brand new, much more resilient basal strength. And make no mistake about it, what happened in Korea today is a direct preview of what's coming to the US. This right here is the bridge between the Asian close and the US Open. The battle we just saw between Korean semiconductors and industrials is a forecast for the tension between assets like Nvidia versus names like Lockheed Martin and Ford. All right, so let's translate all of this intelligence into a concrete binary action plan. We are now moving from analysis to the execution protocol for the US session. The entire session now hinges on this one data point. Tonight's CPI print at 8:30 Eastern is the primary trigger. It's going to either confirm the risk-off tech rotation we saw in Asia, or it's going to reject it and force a violent unwind. We don't predict, we execute. So this guide gives you the tactical response if core CPI comes in hot, let's say above 2.7%, expect that capital rotation out of tech to accelerate. The warning from Asia was real. If it comes in cool, below 2.6%, then you should expect a sharp relief rally in semiconductors, and that could fuel a squeeze in names like Nvidia, where a rush of buying just forces prices even higher. To that end, these are the key nodes and triggers you need to monitor at the US Open. Keep an eye on JP Morgan for the market's reaction to earnings, Lockheed Martin to confirm the defense flow is real, and Ford to confirm the auto rotation. These are your validation points. The signal from Asia is clear. It's unambiguous. A fundamental shift has happened. The smart money has already repositioned based on this new reality. The entire board has been reset. The only question left is, have you?